Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the third and final reaction video of the Destiny 2 content update, stream number 3 for them. And if you all enjoy this reaction video, then please hit the subscribe button, hit that like, leave hit the notification bell, and leave a comment down below because I love reading comments. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So hopefully y'all enjoy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It's good to see y'all.
We're
Welcome
starting.
to our third of 3 developer live streams to talk about all the cool stuff coming up with Destiny 2 Into the Light. My name's Andy. I work on the social media team here at Bungie, and we've got an awesome set of topics to go ahead and cover today.
Okay,
First things
can you hear
first,
me?
we wanted to go ahead
Yep.
and remind you
Alright,
guys of
sorry
one
about that.
clarification we made. For starters,
Nothing important.
all of the weapons in the Brave Arsenal will now be released.
She was just.
So,
I'm
just as a
guessing.
quick
I'm
reminder, all
guessing
of that weapon- all those weapons will be available
when
for you to farm,
I'll
over the course of
I'll
Onslaught.
say it later.
There's many ways with which you can go
Yeah.
about it. For starters,
But
obviously, you can go ahead
she was
and
just telling me
yourself
about
go
if I
to
got
the
her
store you wanna
message,
go
and
and grab.
I said
That
yeah, I
is
got her
things that
message.
you've had your eye on
But
for so long.
I'm
You've got the
guessing
opportunity
we're
to go
still
ahead and
getting
do
a
that,
tornado
over the course of Onslaught.
watch.
Also, there's going to
At
be
one.
up-buy shacks as well, so you can go ahead and farm some additional rolls there. But worry not, you'll have plenty of chances to dive in, grab the weapons you want, whether it be through our site's quest lines or otherwise. Those opportunities will be wide open and available. But we have a whole new set of topics to discuss today, including some reprised exotic missions, a look at the PvP map pack, and a couple more details at the end that we'll go ahead and share with you in just a bit. But as usual, it won't just be me talking through it. So let's go ahead and tell you about the wonderful folks I have here just to my left, some incredible developers here at Bungie. We'll go ahead and start with the gentleman here to my left, friend of the show, one and only Mr. Tom Farnsworth, senior design lead here at Bungie. Tom, welcome back.
I'm back. I keep bringing me back.
I know, come on, you're the best. We couldn't possibly let you go.
No, of course, I'm the creative lead for Into the Light, but we're really here to talk about all the great work the team has done and these individuals here with us today. And we're going to talk about some exotic missions,
Yes.
some rewards associated with them, and some PvP stuff. So let's dive in. Let's talk to everybody else here.
Great stuff. We also have, now sitting just next to Tom as well, we have Rob Adams, one of the art directors here at Bungie, and kind of the person to help come up with the concept of Into the Light. Rob, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, no, it's good to have you. We have a lot of fun stuff. We were talking before the show about a lot of cool stuff. We'll have plenty of fun details to dive into here in just a little bit. And of course, the one and only Willie Chang, activity designer here at Bungie. How you doing, Willie? Good morning.
I'm doing well.
For the folks at home that may not be familiar with you or your work, what do you do here at Bungie, if you don't mind my asking?
I'm an activity designer for Into the Light. I worked on the 0 Hour reprise.
Excellent. Well, with that, we may as well start diving into the show at hand. We have
Reprise!
a lot of good stuff to start with. In addition to
Reprise.
some awesome reprise exotic missions.
Did you not hear what he just
including
said?
The Whisper.
No, sorry, my
Zero Hour,
mom's.
both,
The
super
0
fun
hour
and practical
reprise. That
versions
means
of
we
weapons.
are
But
getting
let's go ahead and start
the
at top
Outbreak
with
Perfected
the Whisper.
Craftable.
We've had a chance to go ahead and kind of pull back the curtain and look behind the scenes a
Well,
little bit.
kind
Let's
of makes
start from
sense with the
very top.
outbreak just sitting
Rob,
right there
you
in
were
front of
there
us.
when it all started. Why did Bungie make the
I
Whisper?
checked the National Weather Service. We don't
Well, I
have
think
one
the
right
first
now.
few months of
Okay.
D2, I want to say like the first 3 to
And
5
that's the
months,
one that you
we
check
felt like
above
we
all
weren't
else because
secret.
that's the one that every news
It felt like the
station
game
actually
was
uses.
pretty well known,
Yeah.
you know, and kind of like discovered.
Mhm.
And it just needed some big
It
secret
doesn't
to be
mean we
found
won't
by
have one.
players,
I'm
and we
just
thought
checking.
that would excite our community quite a bit. Like it would just go over really well. We hoped it would at least.
Yeah.
And we had all this nostalgia for the Vault of Glass and Black Spindle. I mean, one day we were just sitting in a conference room and we're like, what if we just made another Black Spindle mission, but we made it a lot bigger,
Yeah.
right?
Speaking of, we've got here on screen kind of some, if we can call it as such,
Yeah.
original
So it is going to
concept
be
art, I'll say, for
Whisper of the
Whisper.
Worm in
Concept art.
Outbreak.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here?
What the?
So,
I
well,
mean,
that's actually the
that was
very
just
first
obvious.
whiteboard
I don't know
drawing
why
that I
people
got all
were saying it
excited
was
when
going to
we
be
ran
the
into
other
conference
missions
room and we
because
started,
those guns weren't
drawing
like
what
secret
this could
missions.
do,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
we'd want to build. And really, this kind of shows some of the magic formula. You know, like we had a contract, really, that we called it a contract. And this was
The
an
Whisper
unspoken agreement
for
between
first
us
white
as
bird.
devs and the hardcore, super engaged players.
Yeah.
And it really was, if you can pass a test where your mind is going to be tested,
Mm-hmm.
you're fighting, right?
Yeah.
is going to be tested, and you're going to be able to pass these tests, right?
Yeah.
Your movement, your mind, your fighting.
Yeah.
If you can get past these tests, you're going to be rewarded with great power.
Yeah.
And that was the contract. And so one of the other things we did, and you can see it up here in the upper left,
Yeah.
is there's a little crack, and then the path continues.
Should be a
and then,
bit
you know, that's the
easier
red
now
herring.
with
And so we thought, well,
new builds and
rather
stuff.
than lead players
Oh,
by the
yeah.
nose and have a bunch of narrative and make it really obvious what you're supposed to do, what if they get into this mysterious place and they don't know what to do? And when they go down the path that they think is right,
Yeah,
it's
especially
not.
for like the
You know, they
outbreak
go
mission
blazing
being
right past
timed.
the actual
That's still a
opening.
thing.
And so we knew that
Yeah.
we were pretty confident that was going
Well,
to
the outbreak mission was never that hard. The hardest part about that was just getting to the boss in
They could then
time.
bring their friends
Yeah.
and show them, and then we would have the videos.
Because if the
and
robot
walkthroughs,
wanted to
and
screw you,
just
it
appeal
would.
to-
Yeah.
to
As they
those
let their
sorts of
friends
people.
go first that first time.
Remember it
watching Fallout, yeah,
happening
it was
happening
like-
to us a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Also,
Yep.
too, is to kind of focus a little bit more on the art direction as well. I think to put it lightly.
Plus,
the
now
vibe of
enemies
the
won't
game
have
was pretty
the
intense.
elemental
Can you tell us what it
shields
was like
that
kind of
won't break
imagining that space and bringing it to life.
Yeah.
because they
Yeah, we
removed that
wanted-
from the
we wanted
game.
this like intense mystery vibe, right? The mystery of I'm on IO and I found this
I'm just
place
hoping you're
that I've
not gonna
never seen or didn't know
be
existed.
Yeah.
And where does it go,
D-bags
right, in that
and
mystery?
basically
And also
make
the
it to
feeling of
where
dread.
they're now unstoppables and
And
stuff
so-
from
Love
it.
that.
Yeah, and it's easy to get a vibe if you listen to one type of music, for example.
Right.
So we were watching Stranger Things and listening to the soundtrack, and I got really into building this traversal puzzle. It has a really consistent vibe because it was just one type of music that was listened to for the
Yeah.
whole thing. Yeah.
Speaks to my Hotline Miami fan.
Yeah.
Inside, honestly. Yeah. Also, too, is we've got another picture as well of the infamously titled Green Room as well. There was a really cool anecdote you had kind of about the development process of this. What was it like bringing this kind of very iconic, I guess I'd say, Destiny room to life?
Yeah, well, this is funny because there was this thing that we wanted to try, right? Make a room that has a trap in the center. That if you mess up, you end up going down the trap and you get punished for it. And when
Yeah.
you get out, you end up back in the room. And it just happens again and again and again. And there's all these different ways that you try to find your way out of this room.
Right.
So the test was to make a tiny version
Until
of this.
people
like
realized
1/4
that you left a
scale.
hole
And
in
we
the
brought it
back.
into the playtest lab.
Mhm.
We had Cosmo and Dylan. We had a bunch of our testers and designers in there.
Yeah.
And I just waited, right? And I waited for someone to find the hidden shortcut, right? Like what would happen what's going to happen when they find that hidden shortcut?
Yeah.
And so the first person that found it, they just screamed and started laughing, and then everybody started finding it. And based on that reaction, we knew we had something good. And then it got scaled up into what you see here. And back to the vibe thing again.
Yeah.
When this got built, all I did was listen to Black Sabbath, the first 6 albums, like over and over.
Yeah.
So it just has that really consistent vibe all the way through. And that's just a trick that the whole team
Ew,
uses.
grow
to
up.
get,
All right.
a theme
Whoa.
or a vibe
Oh,
to be
we have-
consistent.
We're going to go ahead also too and start to jump in the activity so we can see this this vibe up close and personal as well. But here we are. We're back in the Whisper as well. Really quickly too, off the top, Willie, when it comes to bringing these encounters forward, bringing them to the modern era of Destiny, what were some of the
Yep,
bigger
still
challenges
timed.
that you'd say you have to overcome in order to make sure that they were fitting for today's sandbox?
Yeah, so sandbox-wise, players nowadays pack a lot more power than they did before. People can clear entire rooms of ads from these activities back when they were in their original state.
Yeah.
Just like extremely quickly. So we had to beef up the number of combatants that are in these encounters, and later on I might talk more about additional tuning that I've done on them.
Totally.
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah, we can
God.
come back to that in a second, but
I cannot
also
stand
too,
that.
really quickly.
What?
Number
back
go
in the
up is
day,
not
there
difficulty.
was a very bespoke way
Oh.
of getting into the Whisper. You had
Yeah.
kind of hang out on IO, wait for this mysterious portal to come up.
Yep.
But we've made some changes to that as well. I think you were mentioning before we hopped on the air.
Oh yeah, I mean I was a victim of it, right? We had the public event with the RNG, and you had to
Right.
wait for the right one. And
Yeah.
one time I tried to take a coworker through on a Saturday, and we
Yeah.
spent like 7 hours just
Yeah.
trying to get a few runs because of the public event.
Right.
And that we just had to change that, right?
Hmm.
And the team was excited about having a
Those
new,
blocks
map out there,
just
new
shoot
character
out
you go and talk to.
before
So
instead of
you
going
talk to
slowly in and
Eris Morn.
out?
Eris Morn's going to tell you some really cool stuff. I don't want to give it away.
Smart. Yeah.
But you're not going to have to deal with the frustrating trigger to get in anymore.
Excellent. No, that's always good to hear. Giving a chance, especially if people are going to come back in here multiple times.
Hey, get a move on. You ain't gonna make it.
Obviously, a pretty
You
big
walking too
component.
slow.
Also, too, is I think it's worth mentioning that
I wanna
this
see the
is-
boss
This has
room.
undergone more changes than just the combat landscape.
They're not gonna show
For
that.
the
I
veteran
doubt
players
it.
who are
They'll
coming
probably
here,
want
folks like myself,
Evil
Oh, heck-
who
Occurrence.
kind of
oh,
have a
heck
lot of this
no.
committed to memory. How have you gone ahead and made
But
sure that it's
but
fresh
wasn't
for
wasn't
those
that the
veteran
thing with
guardians out
with
there?
those
Yeah,
with
well,
those
the
little
goal
the
was,
one thing to where
how
didn't
is
they
this
just
gonna be
shoot out
exactly
at
what
you
you
instead of
said,
going
right?
slowly
Like
in and
if I've
out?
played this 10, 15, 20 times,
Oh,
I've
sure.
guided people through. Maybe I've made a video.
Might have been
having
something
you
else,
through
but
here.
for some reason I think I just
What's
I just
gonna
remember
stick
just
to
going.
me, right? What's going to be cool for me to go in and do it again? And that was the goal that the team had. And when we knew we were going to do this, I made my own list, right? Like
Yeah.
I was like, we're going to change this, we're going to move that, we're going to. And I was really excited about it.
Yeah.
So Tom was in this meeting. So I show up and there's like 15, 20 people, and they presented this whole plan. And I had my list all ready to go,
the
and I was going to wait.
sniper
I was going
room.
to listen to all the proposal and everything, and then
Yeah.
start giving ideas and stuff. And when they finally finished presenting this plan for how to update this thing, I just deleted my list because it was like it was way bigger and way cooler than anything that I'd come up with.
Yeah.
It was just so neat to see like a fresh take on it. So, if you think you know where the chests are, if you think you know where all the secrets are, if you think you know where all the surprises are,
Yeah.
you don't because they're different. All those old guides and all the old walkthroughs, they're gonna have to be remade. Even though I'll just give one away. When you first get in, there's that first secret chest room on the right.
Right.
The anomaly has taken care of that. It's not there anymore.
Amelie is
Yeah.
taking care of it.
There's
So
more surprises.
to the Steam guide writers, to the game facts writers, to the folks making their YouTube videos, a revision 2 is going to be in order sometime soon.
Oh yeah.
By the sounds of it.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. Also, too, are there any other changes that you guys are particularly excited about when it comes to the Whisper? We're going to move on to 0 Hour here in a little bit, but before we conclude our journey here, Willie, actually on your side, are there any changes in particular that you're excited about with this updated version?
I'm excited about the way that the boss fight has changed
Yeah.
for this activity.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll leave that to folks to go ahead and discover on their own when it comes to
Don't
the
tell
launch
us.
day of the Whisper.
Zach.
Plus.
Yes.
Yes, this is a first look for the folks out there who are looking to go ahead and make sure that they're ready on day one to go ahead and add another craftable exotic into their collection. Obviously, the Whisper is going to be there for you, but we don't want to spoil all of it. You'll have it in your hands soon enough. And also, some folks out there have already had a chance to play it, so we don't want to go ahead and uncover too many of the mysteries. Up next, we've also got, obviously, another iconic one.
So would that
0
mean that
Hour.
Whisper in the Worm will
Let's start from the
actually
top. Can you
be
explain,
back to
Rob, the
good?
concept behind Trevor? You've obviously got an homage to him on your...
I have my shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you tell us a little
Yeah,
bit about
thanks.
what this original concept was?
So Trevor was really inspired by this. There's this Japanese game show called Takeshi's Castle, and it's been around a while. And it's great because it has all these physical challenges and people getting knocked down or flipped over and stuff and trying to get through things and there's just a lot of comparisons to what we try to do in Destiny, and we've borrowed from that show and shows like it for a long time for cool ideas. And they have this one bit where the contestants try to get up this hill, and there's this big fake boulder that comes down the hill,
Yeah.
right? And there's these little like side rooms, like little pockets that they
Right.
can try to get into. And so we were like, man, if we had something like that in the middle of this mission, that would be amazing,
Yeah.
right? And so we had this thing that we called,
go.
there it is.
Yeah, we got some concept art up on screen
Yeah.
now.
So we had this thing that we called the hazard for a long time. The hazard is going to get you, right? And it's going to come down at you.
Oh
And on
my
the
goodness, I
left, you can
forgot all
see the
about
original
that.
whiteboard drawing of what this could look like.
Told
And
you
there you
about that. I
see
said if the
hill
robot
with
wants
the
to screw
slots.
you
Yeah.
over, he
Basically
will.
lifted off of Takeshi's Castle.
Yeah.
And then that evolved into what we eventually made as a maze,
Yeah.
right? And then there's the very first drawing of Trevor. And on the right, you can see a concept art by one of our artists named Fan Gao.
Mm-hmm.
And when I looked at it, it had a bit of a vacuum cleaner look. It didn't quite nail the fear,
Sure.
which we
Yeah.
might talk about in a second here.
Oh, yeah.
So then on the far right, you can see the centipede legs and the light and the final revision. That's pretty close to how Trevor ended up.
Yeah, it definitely it feels terrifyingly familiar in some ways, we'll say.
Yeah.
And I, kind of while we're on the legs,
Good job, Tom.
which brings up honestly another great example I'd love to touch on as well is, as a guardian myself, we've felled gods, we've fought some of the most difficult battles in the universe, whether it's against our fellow guardian or the many foes that set foot inside the solar system. When it comes to Trevor in particular, it elicits a very primal, sincere fear. How did you guys kind of elicit that from players who have obviously conquered so much?
Well, I think there's this
I
like
think it more
satisfaction from
incites
scaring
anger
people
because
that's
it's
inherent in
terribly
everybody. Like,
designed.
We've all scared somebody, I think, at some point. It's just super fun.
Yep.
So
True.
what could we do in Destiny to actually make people feel fear? And the team was super excited about how to try to tackle that problem. Because you're right? Like Guardians can just jump away and we kill everything and we're just gods.
Invisible and
God
dodge
killers.
away.
Yeah, exactly.
To do it. Yeah.
So how do you scare our players in the game, right? So the first step was drop you in a maze.
Yeah.
There's something in there that you cannot kill. You can't jump up because the ceiling is just above your head, right?
Yeah.
So those were the first three things. This thing is faster than you.
Yeah.
So you know you're in there with something that you can't kill that can go faster than you. And then of course we did the centipede bottom, which I have this particular phobia of centipedes. Like,
The fact that you took something that is such a fear and
me,
put it
yeah.
front and center, honestly, like it's commendable.
I watched this video like a week ago where this dude takes a giant centipede and lets it bite him on the arm.
Why would you do that to
I
yourself?
don't know. I almost passed out like watching this video. Centipedes terrify me. And so I thought
He's
the bottom of
talking
this thing
about
just has
that
to
one
be
guy I
sideways
watched.
centipede legs that are made out of metal and they just grind you up
Desert
when it
centipede
catches
bit him
you.
in the arm.
And then the final piece
Yeah,
of
Howdy,
I know.
Peterson.
the formula for this
I know
thing
exactly what you're
was
talking about.
to put a super bright light on it that would shine as a shadow caster across your, like past your body so you can see your own shadow as you're trying to get away.
Yeah.
And honestly, like a lot of it was inspired by the anxiety that I feel, and I think folks on the team also felt when we talked about like the trope of a subway that's coming around
Nah,
the corner.
you want
right?
true fear?
Just
It's
see
when
that
you're
light
running
like
around in
just
Dragon's
walk right
Dogma
outside.
2 at
Yeah, you
night.
see
You
the light
hear
coming and
a
then you see
slight
the
sound,
thing.
you turn around, there's a
So
giant
that really
troll that
helped,
just
us
smashes you as
figure
soon
out
as
how
you
to
turn
make this thing
around.
as
Yes.
No Indiana Jones laying down on the tracks hoping for the best here.
Yeah, no.
Not a chance. No. Trevor's gonna chew you up.
I didn't
honestly.
find Trevor
so also,
freaky at all. I
we
found him
ourselves now,
annoying.
we're
It
in
was
the
just a
beginning stages here
roadblock to me
of
playing
what
the
we can see
mission.
on screen.
At first
Really, we
it
kinda
would
touched
freak
on this
you out.
briefly
At first it
over
would
the
freak you out, but then
course
once
of
you
the
once you
Whisper.
play it
Can
a
you talk
lot
about
as
what
we
it was like
have,
sort of
then
reinventing
yeah, it
these
just gets
combat
annoying.
spaces and these encounters
It
for
never freaked
Guardians in
me
a modern
out.
standpoint,
I was
especially
annoyed.
those that are going to have the brave arsenal.
It
available to
freaked
them.
me out first, but then I just
so,
started getting
it's
annoyed at
because
him.
I took you
saw
into the
a
mission and
break in
didn't
this
tell you
encounter,
anything.
which there
True.
wasn't one before. I think there's the desire to keep the soul of the activity, which is that, oh, there's time pressure on me to finish this activity quickly, and also I'm going up against powerful enemies that are trying
I had
to stop me from
soloed
doing
it
that.
up to Trevor
So
and
we
then
wanted to make sure that the combat
lost to him.
still
As
felt
soon as I
casual
saw him, I
even
said,
into the
"Are you kidding me,
sandbox, so we
Bungie?"
added some
And it
new
instantly
combatants.
killed me, and I was
Great.
just like, great.
And we also just increased the
Yeah.
number of combatants, period, so that players had more to do with their more diverse and deadly tools.
Yeah, Guardians have plenty of those available to them. When you were developing these combat spaces as well, were there any moments where you really thought to yourself, like, all right, this is it. Like, we've really centered in on what was great about this mission originally, but this is going to be appropriately challenging for today's Guardians.
Yeah, I think when we play tested it and we had everybody load up with their like new maneuverability tools.
I'm guessing
their
from the
swords,
looks
their
of it, we're
grapples,
also going to be in
to go
challenge
through the
mode where
activity,
our
and then we
light
were
isn't going to
expecting
be
that,
high
like,
enough.
oh, people are going to breeze through this like it's nothing, like the original 20-minute timer.
Yeah,
has to,
most likely.
become something else. But really, all of that translated over pretty well. Like the individual sections are self-contained enough that like you can't.
Listen, earlier they were talking about
bypass so many things by just using one
Guardians
tool.
basically being gods,
The whole
but
thing
Guardians
sort
have
of
nothing on
Still
Warframes.
felt like 0 hour.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
New toolbox.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Even with, we're gonna go ahead and jump forward here a little bit as well, using our dev tools to take a look at Trevor as well. So for the folks out there that want to reinstill that fear in themselves, now's a brief chance to check it out. Also, too, is we're in a world where, there's strand grapples, there's shatter skating. When it came to kind of redesigning these activities, or even making, I guess, alterations more appropriately on these activities.
I also thought
with
Trevor
one like
looked
Trevor,
goofy.
for example, what was the challenge that you kind of had to overcome with those new movement tools in addition to the combat tools that players have available to them?
To be honest, I
guess,
think it would have been a lot
philosophically,
funnier and a
I'd
lot
want
more
to make
shocking
sure
to
that
have a little
if people
gremlin
were
robot that
expecting
you
to
just
be
couldn't
highly
kill just
maneuverable,
chasing
then
you.
I'd
Yeah,
make that choice and
instead
say,
of being scary,
yeah,
it should
you're
just
highly maneuverable.
been
Like, you're in
hilarious.
this hallway with Trevor, I don't want to be
Well,
ground up by these centipede
I
legs,
get what
so
you're
I'm
saying, but it
going
wasn't
to
scary. I
sword
think
skate
it was
through
just
this so
the
I
fact
can
that it
have
was
a
a
little
hit.
bit of speed
They
on
tried to
Trevor.
go for
But,
scary,
like,
and it was
you
hit
know,
or
you
miss.
still can't
But if they
yeah,
made a
take the
little
challenge
gremlin
entirely.
bot that
Trevor
chased
will
everyone
still
around, it would have
kill
been
you if
funny
you
to almost
mistime
everybody.
those.
That's
So
that's what
these are just
I'm
different
saying.
expressions of how you
Saying
want to tackle
from
these
what like they
challenges, and none
said.
of those
From like they
expressions
said,
would,
oh,
like,
he's scary,
fully
scary. No, you
throw
should
these
not have
challenges
tried
off.
that. You should just
Yeah,
try and make
actually,
it
something
stupid.
too
Like
that I'm seeing
it's a
pop up in the
tiny
chat
little
here,
thing, and then
you
it's like
mentioned,
it's like,
the
oh,
timer.
look
For
at
starters,
him, and
there's
then all of a
also
sudden
normal
just
difficulty
tries to
levels,
shoot him. Like,
is that right?
wait, why won't he
Yeah, Tom, can
die?
you tell us a little bit about like any updates to the timers in these missions as well?
So, and Willie,
Yeah,
feel free to have
I
a
kind of
question
hate
still
on
but
this mission
normal,
because,
it's
for
40
one
minutes is we want to
reason,
give
it's
players a little
very
bit of
clear that
time
the
to start
only
getting
reason we
new,
haven't gotten
it's
Wrath of the
accessible,
Machine
and
back
get in
yet
there
is
and get
because of
the
its
experience,
exotics
but
already in the game.
a lot of our
Yeah.
kind of like quests, content, and secrets are in the Legend version, which has a 20-minute timer. Correct? Yep.
Interesting. Okay, perfect. All right, thank you, chat. In addition to these other updates you've made,
Yeah,
are there
because
anything or any
if they
changes
wanted
you've
to
made
bring
in
Wrath the
particular that you're
Machine
excited
back,
about that
they'll
you're
have to make a
comfortable talking
whole
about
new
here, or is it
exotic
just,
and everything.
you want players to dive in and find out for themselves?
Yeah, so the whole secrets setup for 0 Hour is different. So, previously we had key cards. Those have been replaced by another secret system that you'll just have to find out more about for
Perfect.
yourself.
Excellent.
And I'm also proud of the boss fight in this
That's
activity.
right. Yeah, we'll hold that one close to the vest. Players will have a chance to see that on their own and see Willie's hard work in person very soon. Now, as we mentioned at the top of the show as well, there's going to be craftable versions of these exotics, and we're going to check them out. But there was one more example that I wanted to ask you about, Rob, in particular. There was some discussion briefly about the acronym that is Trevor. Could you tell us what that stands for?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, but
Yeah.
I had to open my phone because it's like impossible to remember that.
We all have our notes. Yeah, it's part of the game.
So early on, the team, we just realized we had to figure out an acronym for this because we loved the name Trevor because it was paradoxical. I went to school with a kid named Trevor who was the nicest kid in the entire school, just nice to everybody to a fault, right? So I always thought like Trevor is just the nicest name, and so paradoxically, here's this evil thing named Trevor, and we thought it was hilarious. But once we alphanumericized, is that a word?
My
Once
guy,
we
have
made
you played
that, we
GTA
had to
5?
come up with the acronym. So the one that I had was Tracking Robotic 3-Vectored Reducer. Because it reduces, right, Tom? It's like it reduces you, yeah. But that was our internal acronym.
Yeah.
And so when we went to Guardian Con,
Yeah, have you played
like
GTA 5? Have you seen the Trevor in that game?
And so we.
Trevor's the
community
nicest
team,
name, and
thought
then you
that we
just
should
see
let the
Trevor over in the corner with his
fans at
arms
Guardian
crossed.
Con
Yeah.
decide what the actual acronym for
No,
Trevor
Trevor
was. And so
coming
we
up to
had,
beat
like,
the
a
guy
bunch
who
of
said
different
that.
examples, and my tracking
Yeah.
robotic was in there.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's one of the things I was like.
Like, I'll show you, nice!
Yeah.
And so at the end, what they decided on, and they decided by loud applause, and it was like very obvious that this is what they wanted.
committee had
Oh yeah,
spoken.
it's like very obvious.
Yeah.
What they decided on was tame, relaxed, triple vac roommate. So that's the official name for Trevor.
That's it. It's
the acronym.
codified.
Yeah.
anymore. Thank you very much. To the denizens of GCX, thank you very much for your hard work and letting us know exactly what
Yeah.
Trevor should be called. That's really cool. I
Yeah,
wish
all
I'd
this
been there for
sounds
that.
good, but how are they going to
Okay,
ruin
now
it
we're
with a
taking quick
post
look,
later
at
today?
the craftable exotics as well. We're
True.
going to go ahead and start with Whisper of the Worm. Tom, can you tell us a little bit about what players who are kind of going to go ahead and facilitate their own play style or
You
want
get
to build
triple
a
tap
Whisper all
on
to
it?
their own? What are they going to have to look forward to with all this?
Yeah, even before we get into the crafting, like I've got my notes here from Chris Proctor, so
You're the
I'm
man
ready to
himself.
go. Yeah, he's
Right.
sitting on my shoulder, helping me out here. And we wanted to retain the fantasy of both these weapons, of both of Whisper and of Outbreak. And Whisper, it's a hard-hitting precision weapon where you're in the backfield. Like, and if you land your crits, you're rewarded, and you can sustain a ton of damage on a boss or enemies with a large critical area.
Ogres will be felled.
Ogres would be felled. The servitors. stand
Oh,
no
don't stand a chance. Yeah.
And then with Outbreak, the fantasy is all about spreading the plague of Siva nanites.
Certainly.
And we'll be able to get to that in a minute. But
I think we're looking at Whisper right now.
yeah, so specifically with Whisper
I hate how true that is.
and Outbreak, for both
What?
of them, with both these crafted weapons, they'll both have
I just saw a meme that
craftable
said,
barrel,
"My doctor told me to,
magazine, traits, and stock options.
There's like a bunch of people talking about their
the barrel and
foods,
magazine
and then
options
this
will
guy
let you,
just
like,
goes,
really
"My
push
doctor
the
told me to
stats
stay
around.
away from the spicy
so you'll be able
stuff
to have
because
like
of
a
my
max
acid
stability
reflux."
Whisper, if you
But that's
want.
what's Tums for.
Which was like really advantageous for a weapon that's about this like hitting repeated critical hits.
Certainly.
In an area.
True.
And then specifically for the perks, on Whisper, and both the perks on Whisper and Outbreak are things that by engaging in our secrets week over week, and both of these exotic missions, you'll be able to unlock them. And
there's
Whisper, it
Storm.
starts off with Mulligan, which is the classic
Oh, is it
perk
here?
where if you miss your shots,
Yep.
you get refunded.
I hear
But
that
if
thunder.
you upgrade it, you can get Field Prep, which will give you more shots, which equals more damage.
Yeah.
And then there's No Distractions, which will allow you to keep under fire, hold your aim on your target better. And there's also Enlightened Action, which is for more forgiving reloads. So there's, I think, a lot of options for players at different play styles and different skill levels there.
Yeah.
And then just the kind of the cherry on top there with Whisper is that it's getting a reserves bump. So it's going to go from
That's right.
18 in reserve to 24 in reserve. So you're going to have a ton of ammo to just like make it a sustained damage monster, which is super exciting.
So ultra precise players like myself who never miss a shot will have even more. Why are you guys laughing? Why are you?
Sorry.
Why is that funny? No, that's really exciting. We have Whisper the Worm in addition to Outbreak Perfected now joining the pool of craftable exotic weapons. Let's take a quick look at Outbreak as well while we're here hanging out in the Enclave. Tom, kind of, second verse, same as the first, same question. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the perks and updates that players will have available to them with their options to craft Outbreak Perfected?
Yep, and so in addition to barrels and mags, it has its classic Outlaw perk is back. So you get your fast reloads on final blows, which works really well with Outbreak. It's all about also landing precision hits to either spawn nanites or to kill enemies and spawn nanites and spread that SIVA energy around.
Spread the plague.
Spread the plague. And then the second one, though, that we're added here is Rapid Hit, which plays right into that. So like you land your precision shots, you get more stability, you get faster reloads. Then another new one is Rewind Rounds.
Say
It's
that
hard for me
3
to
times
say.
fast, yeah.
Try it out.
Yeah.
Which refills your reserves from to minimize your reload. So like if you're hitting shots, you're just going to keep getting more ammo, which is really kind of interesting.
Perpetual motion machine? No, perpetual death machine.
So yeah, it's like do you want the reloads, or you just want to keep shooting?
Yeah.
And then there's also a Head Seeker, which I think maybe for PvP or for certain play styles where like you're less.
Well, they did get rewind
focused on your kill
rounds,
shots.
but
That's something to
other
think about
people
as
were
well.
hoping
Right.
for Vorpal
In
and
terms of
stuff like that.
catalysts,
Rewind
if
rounds
you
is
already
good.
have them,
Yeah.
you're golden. You can craft those. If you don't,
There you go.
play the Legend version of Whisper and 0 Hour, and you'll have a chance to get them.
Very cool.
So that's still in there.
We
and
already
then, as I
have them,
mentioned,
so-
for unlocking these new intrinsic perks that you can slot in, there'll be like a 3-week mini quest line that rolls into the secrets for each of these. And Whisper is coming at launch with Into the Light,
Did you just
and
say
0
a
Hour is coming
3-week?
in May.
Perfect. Okay. So be a chance to go ahead and sink your teeth into 0
Yep.
Hour for a while before you go
Because
ahead and change
everything
your
has to be time
start
gated
unlocking
for
one of the
engagement.
storied exotics of old.
Yeah.
Also, it's worth
boy.
mentioning that there are more than just the craftable weapons available as rewards in these missions. There's some tried and true ships. Now, we were talking a little bit about this earlier, but as someone who still to this day wears 1,000 wings.
You and me?
Yeah, like we know the feeling of getting that ship and finally having that I was there moment. The ships are making a return as well, isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so for both Whisper and for 0 Hour, they're coming back. Is it the exact same ship, or are there going to be changes on them?
No, these are actually new assets, right? They're new ships, so they won't be the same. They won't sit in the same spot in your inventory, and they are updated to look really cool and new. And I think they're exciting, especially we took the old scrap drifter ship that was, I think. Not really loved particularly by the community because it was literally scrapped together from spare parts to get built, and so we did a really nice pass on that. So it's inspired by the look of Outbreak Perfected, and I think it looks great. I think the community is going to love it.
Yeah.
And then we have the Whisper ship, 1,000 Wings. It's got a new design, so you'll still have your old 1,000 Wings, and if you have that equipped, players are going to know that you're OG and that you got it back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
And the new one is going to look like the new one, so there won't be any mistaking the old one for the new one.
Very cool. Excellent. So for the players who want to go ahead and continue to build up their collections, there's a chance to go ahead and dive back in. Maybe they weren't there originally, but they want to go ahead and join the 1,000 Wings Club to a degree.
Exactly.
Excellent. So there'll be a chance to go ahead and unlock those as well. Excellent. Well, I think we are actually about at the point of the show we're going to go ahead and get ready to rotate over to the PvP map pack. But for starters, let's go ahead and make sure we thank our incredible team of playtesters here, going ahead and showing off the missions for us. Ashley, Peyton, and Michael, thank you all so much. Very much. There we go. We're getting some waves from the backstage. Thank you all so much for the time. And of course, Willie, I think this is unfortunately the time now we bid you adieu to go ahead and transition into the PvP
Thanks
map.
for having me.
See you soon.
Awesome. Willie, thank you so much. All right, we are now joined by another member of the Bungie development team, a staff artist here who has helped made many of the PvP maps that you've also known and loved, the one and only Mr. Cooley Callahan. Cooley, welcome to the show, man.
Guys, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely, it's been so long.
Yeah, it has. It's been a minute.
Look at us, right? Who would've thought? Yeah.
That's full circle.
Yeah. Now, we were talking a little bit before the show about Cooley. I'm going to go ahead and do us all a favor and put Cooley on the spot to a degree. Rob, we were talking a bit about Cooley's history.
We were.
here. Can you tell us a little bit about the man sitting just to your left, the contributions he's made to the PvP pantheon?
Yeah, well, one of the things that was really important for us was to make sure that the strike team was stacked, that we had the best designers on the strike team. And so Cooley is certainly one of those. He's a 6-year veteran of the PvP team who shipped over 11 maps.
Yeah.
A lot of them are fan favorites, and I'm not going to steal any more of Cooley's thunder. I'll just let him talk about some of that.
Yeah, it's not everyone's a banger. I mean, there's definitely some maps that people would want some words with me. But I
We'll
think,
save that for later. But what are some of the
just
bangers?
come find me. It's I think Burning Shrine,
Yeah.
which is now Burnout. It's such a classic map. It's a Trials favorite. And then Midtown is another map that turned out really well. We built that for Countdown, but I was just chatting with another Destiny fan at the dog park the other day, talking about how well that map supports all of the different engagement ranges, which is definitely something that we try to do. We try to create places for players to use their favorite tools.
Yeah. Now with the maps, we're going to be looking at 3 of them today with kind of a primary focus on, you were mentioning earlier, I think it was the 3v3 kind of competitive side of things was sort of the focus for these maps.
Absolutely.
3
Yeah, I think
maps?
early on,
Gosh
a
dang.
lot of the direction that we got was we wanted to bolster that competitive gameplay experience with new maps, tweaks to the modifiers of some of the modes. And so we
3
playtesting
maps.
really
That's
focused on the
insane.
competitive playlist.
I
and,
know.
really centered and put those experiences at the forefront. And then, all Destiny maps, can suit a variety of modes. So we also made sure they worked elsewhere. But for the most part, we really did want to provide new experiences and just breathe a little bit of new life into the higher, maybe a little bit sweatier gameplay.
So weird how you were staring directly at me when you said sweaty, but that's fine. We'll let it go for now. Actually, briefly too on that topic before we kind of go into the guided tour of these maps. Having had so much time to sort of be a part of building the tapestry that so much of our PvP happens on, what were some of the key lessons that you've kind of taken away from having built those maps and seen them go through everything from trials to quick play and bringing forward those lessons into these maps?
Yeah, I think one thing that is always at the forefront of our minds is, trying to strike that balance between, providing the playground for players to express themselves and express their Guardian and their play style. So a lot of verticality, a lot of movement, and then balancing that with making sure players understand where they're getting shot from, and creating a satisfying PvP engagement that doesn't leave players, cursing the map or feeling like they don't understand why they died. So we want to make sure that players have, we want to provide a choice for players that's always available to them to riff and to work with their team to use the map to their advantage. So it's a balancing like a complex gameplay space that allows a lot of movement and freedom without opening it up so much that you're not understanding like, geez, I can get shot from so many different places.
Certainly.
So we really, it's a little bit of back and forth. We'll open it up, we'll try some things. Especially this time around, we tried some stuff and got into the weeds a little bit. But I think that's all part of the discovery process of finding the gameplay that we want to create. And so we go a little further, maybe too far in the openness and Swiss cheese, and then we bring it back and make it a little bit more focused and really dial in the engagements that we want.
That's awesome. I mean, speaking of getting in the weeds, there's no time like the present. Shall we go ahead and dive on in?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Cool.
Diving on in. All right, we got the first of 3 maps to go ahead and show off. This is the we have one on Europa, one on Neomuna, and then one on one of the pyramid ships in Essence, I believe is the
That's
name of
right.
the location. So this is the first one. This is here on Europa. Cooley, can you tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here today, or where we are?
Yes, so this map is called Eventide Labs, and this is a long forgotten human colony research outpost on Europa.
5 minutes left.
And
Keep it up.
it just so happens that Aramis has chosen this location as a refueling station for her catch. So here you'll see, perched just above the horizon is her catch in the skybox with, it's getting hooked up, and we have a servitor over here that's hooked up to the catch to provide that ether that the Elixni need. And so we really wanted to situate the maps in the universe and draw on that deep Destiny lore. But yeah, we definitely have a presence of Fallen here, set amongst the.
You have brought me to
abandoned
life,
human,
people. What a
ice
thank you.
encrusted
Cool. Now get in this
structures with
cage and
which has been a
produce
really
stuff.
fun, environment to work on. We definitely want to bring in.
Create
new
they create
palettes
these
as
robots
possible
and bring
because
them to
there's so
life
much
just to
great,
force them to produce.
environment art content, the palettes.
That's
Oh.
real American right
to-
there.
We want to use those
Indeed.
in PvP wherever we can, just to, the different palettes have different character that leads to different gameplay spaces.
Also, when it comes to kind of finding these maps of place in the world, Rob, having kind of looking at through an artistic lens, what were some of the challenges or even kind of exciting opportunities potentially of finding, new places for these maps to live in the more modern era of Destiny that we've been experiencing more recently?
Well, we really wanted to make sure that when we do an update like this, it's a major refresh to the map rotator, right? Like we're adding quite a bit of variety here. We wanted to make sure that we had 3 distinctly different places and places that players haven't seen a bunch of times. So
Right.
fortunately, we had these available to us, and I'm looking at it again now. I mean, I'm not getting sick of looking at this. The team does such a good job.
It's gorgeous. This is, one of the cool things is just how purposeful everything feels in the world.
Yeah.
The art team always pushes it so far where it really feels like you're walking into a truly recently defunct, human colony or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, and the frozen world of Europa, I mean, they all have their advantages for PvP, but the frozen ice walls of Europa are just perfect for multiplayer, and I'm sure Cooley's going to talk about this a bunch.
Yeah, actually, also too, Cooley, if you wouldn't mind, as people who have heard me talk too much about Destiny PvP would know, Dead Man's Tale and I get along a lot. Can you tell us a little bit maybe about some of the sight lines or opportunities that I'll have to maybe rack up some additional kills as I dive into this map the first time?
Totally. If long range is your thing, this spot out here is definitely the place for you. There's one spawn that happens for one team over by C and then one over by A, and so in these competitive modes, if you've got an objective out here, this sight line is really important to lock down. So this is a spot where you're gonna have 2 teams poking and peeking each other, and then rushing over here to try to get to this zone. And lock it
I
down.
just see that now we have
If you're,
special
rolling
reserves
with
out in the
that
area.
long range kit, you can hang back and sort of lock down this airspace here so that you can
So it's
provide
just
cover and
D1 all over
maybe
again?
support your team
Is
from
this
being,
D1 all
harassed
over
on this
again?
point.
This
And
is
then
fantastic.
we also have sort of this the sight line in the middle, which will be pretty fun. It's definitely going to be a race to
Almost
get
like they
each
should have
player,
just
or each
continued
team to
D1.
kind of get to
Exactly.
the spot and lock down this
When
sort of,
everything keeps
portal
going
here
back to D1.
ensure that you can push into this space and kind of control the middle. But as you can see, there's lots of ways for players to come in and flank. So if you're holding this space, you'll really not want to be here for too long unless you've got the support to do it.
Yeah. Make sure you throw those grenades right off of the rip, basically, when you're coming out of spawn to try and
Yep.
conquer that territory as best you can.
Yeah, one of the things I love about these ice caves is, it provides a lot of opportunity for grenades, like trip mines, and to bounce things off of the back of the walls. And the shapes here are just really fun to play with.
All right, so this is one of 3 maps. Let's go ahead and prepare to go ahead and move on to the next one here really quickly. We've got, coming up next, Neomuna as well. So finding a place, on Neomuna, obviously, that makes sense for PvP probably seems pretty natural, honestly, given just like how rich and vibrant and exciting of a place it is. What was it like, even starting from an artistic standpoint on this map, Rob?
This was a really exciting map for the team. It's a shopping/entertainment center for the Exos on Neomuna. And,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of really fun decoration, and the spaces have a lot of character to them. There's a lot of recognizable things, human scale things that look relatable, and we don't always get that in all of our palettes. And so this is also an opportunity for us to have a really clean architectural map that has a lot of crisp edges and very flat floors. So all of definitely the more competitive players and the sort of the more PvP diehards, they really take to this map, and it's an instant hit. People are, just right away pleased with, how readable the map is. It's one of those maps that you play a couple times and you get it. Like, you understand that it's all about this.
I wasn't paying attention. Is this man hyping up a map, telling players how they should feel about a map that's not even out yet?
There's
Yep.
this area down here, which is where
Oh,
a lot
so
of
so he
objectives
is
spawn.
just
There's,
straight
special
copium.
ammo down here.
Yep.
But then there's also this place over here where
That's
the
absolutely
heavy ammo
hilarious
spawns,
to me.
and players will
Because
lots of
PvP.
times just pop up here to do a quick
Like,
check
if there's
and
one
maybe,
way
like,
to
try
kill
get
your
a
map,
cheeky
this is
kill
how
on
you do
somebody
it.
who's maybe running
Just start telling players that they're going to love it, and just like try to magically put it in their head that they're going to love this
get
map.
shot from. But that's kind of like that balance of what I was talking about before. Like, we want to provide that, but we want to make sure
You know what's
that
funny?
What?
it's not too powerful.
About
or,
90% sure that's a
it's
Halo
still-
Reach map.
It's a risk reward, right? You're making a trade-off, and
Reskinned.
the players who are
Wait,
using
really?
the map well and who understand the
Yep.
map will.
People in
be
chat
able
are saying
to
it too. It's
use
the
it to
Halo
their
Reach map
advantage.
Yeah,
reskinned.
actually, also too, to kind of focus on the readability. I remember overhearing some discussions with you
Wow.
designers talking about the clean zone in PvP. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is and how it kind of helped inform the design of this map?
Yeah, definitely. I think the clean zone is something that a lot of developers really use to sort of create this space for the player to pop, right? To like really stand out from the environment.
Yeah, you're
And so
stuttering on
for
your
us,
words
it's
because you
about
know
where
that
the
you stole it
player's
from
entry
Halo.
is. And this map is just
Exactly.
one of the examples of how it can really.
I mean,
provide
technically
for a
it's
good
their
PvP
map.
experience.
Well, yeah, but still.
Have this sort of mark.
He's
I
right,
don't
he's-
even mind that it's a Halo
kind of
Reach map,
expect
because this
players
map was
to
actually
reside
good in
in.
Halo Reach.
Yeah.
But you know what
Yeah.
they could have said?
Till they drop
What?
around
Hey,
in-
we
in
took this map
strands
from
suspended
Halo
in the
Reach, and
air,
then people
you're
in
just
chat
left
would have
there
been like,
cursing the heavens
"That's
for a while.
awesome! You
Maybe
should
I'm
do
speaking
more
out
of
loud.
that."
Yeah, because this map, I will say this map
This is,
does
I will
look
say, one of the
good.
maps that, having done a little bit of playtesting myself, I still have to give you credit for perhaps one of the most diabolical heavy weapon spawns.
Then,
or
to
heavy
be
ammo spawns, rather, I
honest,
could
I'm
see,
not too
in any
sure
PvP
that
map.
the
Like, the sheer
devs
amount of
that are at
reward
Bungie right
that goes
now
into just making
even
your way
know this
safely,
is from
or so you
Reach.
think, out to that particular territory.
Right.
As you guys were even building that balance in of these consumables on the map, Cooley, what was it like sort of having that process evolve or grow?
Yeah. Typically when we start laying out a map, we just kind of start with control, because it's a good base point. It requires 3, very well-defined
So the
combat
secondary
pockets that
rounds
have an
is
objective in
always
them.
by
But then
B.
from there, we start mapping out the other objectives that might exist on a map, like the heavy ammo point.
But yeah,
I think we've
where's everyone
kind of
mostly
gravitated
fighting
more
for
toward having
B?
special ammo
Yeah.
live
So why would you
next
put the
to some of
secondary
other
rounds at
objectives
one
on
of
the
the
map, so
starter
you're not
areas, so
constantly
one team
having
gets an
to make a
advantage?
choice of where
Yeah.
should I go. But we kind of map those things out, and it's.
No, I was
sort of
saying
fun.
like
There's
near the center,
definitely
but
a,
mostly the power ammo is near the
sort of a
center.
order of operations, so to speak. Of you start with these big strokes. You go to the next stage and start making sure that you've got space and combat pockets for maybe Dominion or some other game modes, and things just kind of fall into place from there.
Excellent. All right, and we got one more map to check out as well. For all the fine folks at home, we're going to continue our guided tour, and we're going to make our way over to Essence, to one of the pyramid ships, to check out the final PvP map that'll be releasing in this pack. As we're flying in, I gotta give you guys credit. Like, the space that exists inside those pyramid ships that's being terraformed by the Traveler looks just absolutely incredible. But this is the first time you guys have had a chance to really flex your muscles and build a PvP map out here. Rob, just to start from your perspective as we load in, what was it like developing this
Not
playground for
necessarily.
Guardians
There's
that's
one
kind of
on
so
the
deep
throne
in the
world
enemy's
that's basically
backyard?
inside the pyramid ship.
I think it was really tough. You
Yeah.
know, like I remember there were quite a few iterations of this
True.
map, and I know Cooley's going to go into more detail, but like from a high level, it's a pretty inherently noisy palette. Cooley was talking about the clean zone. there's some palettes in the game that are just very visually noisy. So the geometry is noisy. They create a lot of shadow and a lot of highlights just by the geometry itself. And then the textures, the shaders that are on the geometry, those can be noisy.
Yeah.
And then there's the clutter of the palette. So when you have an environment with a lot of entropy and there's just rubble everywhere, there's like garbage strewn around or plants hanging down, like we often do in Destiny, we have to declutter. Some of like the European Dead Zone maps, for example, are highly cluttered. And so this was an example of one of those fairly entropic, high clutter palettes that the team had to kind of wrangle into shape.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Cooley's going to talk
so
about
this
that
one's
process
inside
because it
of
was quite a
Rolk's
process.
pyramid.
Actually, yeah, Cooley, I'd love to continue and just start there. You know, taking this space on a pyramid ship and kind of making it suitable for a PvP map. What was that process like from your perspective, kind of from more of a design side?
Yeah, it's again a process of back and forth. You know, we start with mass out, and mass out is the simplest and cleanest a map will ever be. And you know, from there we start developing the spatial character of the map. And one of the things we like to ask ourselves is, what
You
is
guys
this
just need to
place?
come out with a
even
straight
with,
flat
a
map
more
that's like
abstract
rare to
palette,
get,
like,
because that would just be
the
hilarious.
Essence ship,
Yeah.
It's worth asking that question because we can leverage spatial archetypes that just kind of like naturally resonate
Have
with
at
people.
least like just two
Like
pillars.
here we have in this map we have sort of
No,
these dueling.
I want it
houses,
flat.
dueling
just a
drops,
straight,
and
just straight
inside of
flat.
them is this artifact or shrine.
Yes,
So maybe this
just
is
a
like
big square
maybe
flat
this
map.
part of the ship is a collection of mysterious artifacts that the witness has
Flat
collected.
map that is that is
And
completely
so we
small to
lean
where
on
you're
those things
almost face to
give a
face
little
with
bit
the
of rhyme and
enemy when he
reason to a
spawns.
We
space
need
that
shipment.
otherwise is completely abstract. And that
Oh
was
my
also really
goodness,
useful for
no.
us in terms of we can make any kind of space we want. Like we're not limited by architectural.
You can
constraints,
take it
but,
out of like the trials
you know, it can
rotation, since those
it can be
people would
tough sometimes
complain,
to
but leave it
orient
in for
players
the
in map,
casual
when you
gamers.
don't have things like doors or like
Heck, make your
TVs
own
or,
shipment. Just make
any
it.
sort
Just
of
call something else.
human scale architectural pieces that kind of clue you in. So yeah.
It's also too is I remember we were talking a little bit
The
before
lore
the show.
of the map is
Rob, even
Shaxx
about,
wanted to
what
fist
it was like
fight.
from a design standpoint, and
Yeah.
bringing in external testers to try
No,
to
you
test
know,
out for the first time.
you know what's going to
Can you
happen.
tell us
You
a
know what's
little
going
bit
to happen.
about
There's
that
going to
experience,
be
kind of as you, I think, phrased it,
ultimates
discovering
that
your own blind
are
spots?
Yeah, well, we've done this before for
like
years, really.
I don't
And
even
we
know,
did
but
it again
then
here, and it was, I
shotguns
think,
for
really
days.
successful because it was 2 days. They ran
That
through
map
these
on
maps when they
Mayhem.
were still in development. They weren't too far enough along where we couldn't make
Oh
some pivots that we needed
no,
to.
no.
And they found a lot of
Yes.
stuff. I mean, for this map, for example, we thought it was in a
Do
pretty
you
good
know
place.
how many
And
bubbles
a
will
lot
be
of folks
around?
were
You know
called
how
out. They didn't pull any
many?
punches. They were honest
The
and
whole
clear
map
and
would be a
constructive
bubble
with the
and
feedback,
well
and it wasn't
fight.
super easy to hear it all, but
Sure.
when the team listened to it and we took tons of notes, and it was also about, they gave feedback on our sandbox as well.
Yeah.
But lots and lots of map feedback. It was
And
incredibly
then
useful.
hunters nowadays until
Just
probably
another lesson
well
in what we don't see.
maybe this new super would
know,
help out a little
and
bit
it's
more
just-
because you could
it's so
throw
valuable
it
that
and then
these-
just
I can't
teleport
say
to
who they
people and
were,
start
they're
just
very well-known community
We
players.
spoke some
on
chat,
them,
who
but-
knows, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but
You know who you are.
we really were careful about who we brought in because
no,
we
I
wanted
have
people
to
that would be very
I have
pragmatic.
to throw my
They weren't
spear
interested in
staff
their
at like a
own,
place to where they
YouTube
spawn. So
monetization
once they
strategy
spawn in,
or
they're
how to
instantly
allocate
getting
particularly
electrocuted.
net content. They wanted the game to be in a great place. They wanted PvP to be in a great place for the community and for Destiny.
Absolutely.
Right? And they were carefully selected that way, and great communicators who could articulate the feedback. They could really speak to what they were experiencing and what we could do to fix what they were experiencing.
Yeah.
And I'd like Cooley can probably say what he thinks about it too. But
Yeah.
I was
Ooh, the
just blown away
Traveler. You
by
can see the Traveler.
how valuable that was, and we definitely want to keep doing that.
Certainly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cooley, can you tell us a little bit more about that experience on your side as well?
Totally. I mean, it's so fun to those are some of my favorite moments when we can get a bunch of super fans from the
Excuse me?
community in and show them work in progress stuff, and they can actually give us real actionable feedback that we take back to our desks and talk about it, and we discuss how can we sort of take their feedback and move forward. And this content is for them in a big way, right? Like we need their approval. Like we absolutely, that's our mark. That's our goal is to create content that they're going to love playing and that they're excited to play and that their communities are going to get excited to play and sort of learn together and build strategies for. That's the funnest part of the job.
Yeah, I mean, also, Cooley, on your side in general, what are you most excited for players to experience once this gets out into the world with Into the Light?
Yeah, I'm excited to see these maps rotate into trials. I'm excited for players to have a totally new trials experience that, is going to be.
Wait, there's 3 special reserves. I'm just
an
seeing.
Experience of discovery of these new spaces and new strategies, and for players to also, the meta isn't really formed yet. I mean, like we sort of know how the map plays, but it's always a fun surprise to see in the wild just how the map ends up sorting out and what people end up doing. And
sorry if I'm not
really
talking
looking
much,
forward
but I
to
have no interest in
just watching
PvP, so
what
I'm not
happens.
really paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I
gotcha.
count myself among the many that are excited to go ahead and dive on in, having more playgrounds to go ahead and dive on in on trials, no matter what the case is. Maybe try and go ahead and actually get some more competitive rank. Cooley, thank you so much for taking the time to walk us through these today. We really appreciate it.
Anytime, my pleasure.
Excellent. And all right, well, we'll go ahead and use that as a moment to conclude the quick
And all of
tour
this could have been
as well of
shown
the PvP maps.
in one
We
short
got a quick question
stream
from chat
and
from
released the
Dictasaur
next
asking
week.
about are we going to get a playlist or mode? It'll be just these new maps during Into the Light, and the answer is yes. When they launch on May 7th, we'll have a 3v3 playlist to go ahead and talk just about these items. Or rather, let you play just those maps. Rather, we're talking about them today. They're all going to be playing them very shortly. All right, well, that so far wraps up the first 2 segments of our show. But we've got, as I mentioned at the top, a few more announcements for you as well. So you may have heard us mention the word Pantheon in the TWID last week, or even on the show here last week potentially as well. We have got a brand new raid boss gauntlet rather, starting on April 30th. Now there will be more information about this in an upcoming TWID. You'll have more details to dig into shortly, but you will have the Pantheon coming up, where you'll have an opportunity to face grueling raid bosses in a weekly challenge with escalating difficulties and rewards. Now, this is a chance for you to go ahead and rally your clan or the perfect fire team with Fireteam Finder, if you're able to track them down, to go ahead and track down those exotics, adept weapons, any emblems you may not have gotten your hands on. But we have more details for that in the coming weeks. Keep an eye on the TWID, Cosmo, and the community team. Thank you for your hard work.
This
putting that
sounds
together.
retarded.
2, when you dive on in on April 9th, actually rather before we get there, I'm sorry, we will have the opportunity to you'll have the opportunity to get a title through your course of Into the Light as well. So if you dive on in, go ahead and unlock all the triumphs associated with the seal, you'll be able to march into the final shape with a brand new title, Brave, as well. So make sure, go ahead and get those big challenges bid offs. That way you can handle them as early as you possibly can and let the witness know that you're on the way. And we have 3 really, really cool things hitting on April 9th when Into the Light launches. The first one is, if you're a new player, you got a buddy who's just jumping into the game for the first time, and you'd rather not hang out with Shahan and the Cosmodrome, then you have an opportunity to go ahead and just join the front lines. You can skip the New Light campaign, give Shahan maybe a high five on the way out, ask him for a weekly bounty when you're back later, but you have a chance to go ahead and meet up with your friends, head to the Hall of Champions, grab the gift of the Thunder Lords if you so choose, and get ready for battle alongside them. So you'll be able to go ahead and grab some of these New Light kits as well, depending on what your subclass of choice is out of the gate, but your barriers to dive in with your friends have never been lower. There'll be a chance to go ahead and dive on into everything you're seeing with Into the Light here. Also, we have a couple more things. We have some questions in chat about this as well from It's Zepsky and Atlas Live TV, but on 4.9, you'll have the opportunity to also change the way your character looks. So you'll be able to go ahead and change your hair if you didn't like your haircut, if you want to go ahead and change your face paint, if you want to go ahead and risk it to be one of those guardians who goes helmetless in the tower. I'm not sure if I'm brave enough, but I know many of you are. Your chance will be arriving very soon with Into the Light. And there will also be an opportunity to change your name. So Guardian4681 out there, with the launch of Into the Light, we're also going to give you one more name change token. If you already have yours sitting around, I believe you have 2, but our friends in DPS will be able to answer that question for you. But you'll have that chance as well once Into the Light launches. Now, there's a lot, but we also have one more thing for all of you. Next week, we're going to be joining you again for a special developer preview of some gameplay for Destiny 2: The Final Shape. It'll be here, wherever you're watching live, you'll be able to go ahead and watch it on April 9th at 9:30 a.m. Pacific, where you'll get a chance to basically, again, get a look behind the scenes. The developers have been hard at work for some cool stuff that you are definitely not going to want to miss. And over the course of that show, Twitch drops will be live. So there'll be another emblem, which you can see here live on the screen, that'll be available after about 15 minutes of view time. If you haven't gone ahead and also unlocked the emblems that you got as a result of this show or that we're having available during the Into the Light streams, then you have a chance to go ahead and spend some more time unlocking those as well. But that does it. For starters, to all of you Guardians out there in chat, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We're thrilled about what we've been able to show off and thrilled about what the team's been working on for Into the Light. So thank you for taking the time to join us. Chat, we see you out there having a good time, so thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. Also, it goes without saying, but we'll go ahead and do so anyway, to the incredible team
April
here at
9th.
Bungie, building Into the Light, making all of this. The teams that you guys have been kind enough to
The same
represent.
day that
Thank you all so much for all the
Into the
hard
Light
work.
releases?
We're nothing without
Yeah.
the entire
They're
teams that we
doing
have here.
gameplay,
Teams that
developer
obviously go
gameplay,
here
so
for
developers are going to play the
all
game while they
great
talk about
examples
everything
of
that they've
whole
done and stuff like
scenario.
that.
To our play testers as well that have helped us bring this show to life, to Ashley, Peyton, and Michael here behind the scenes, thank you so much for showing off some of the cool new content, and of course all of our guests, to Tom, to Rob, to Cooley, to Willie, to Noah, to Kelsey. I'm not forgetting anyone, am I?
Chris.
To Chris, thank you. To the one and only Mr. Chris Proctor as well. Thank you all for joining us. And now that is about it. So we're going to keep the stream here live until about 11:30, I believe, so you can go ahead and get a little bit more time racking up the last bits of those emblems. But in the meantime, that's it for all of us here at Bungie. Oh, also, I'm sorry, to the team of producers here,
Yeah,
everyone here
thank
that
you.
makes this show possible, they have the challenge of making me look good on camera, so obviously their work is cut out for them. Thank you all so much for helping bring this show to life. And now, finally, we're going to go ahead and sign off, and reminder, Into the Light launches next week. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you all Starside.
So I'm going to mute it so I can actually hear myself. So thoughts? Chandler?
What? I can't hear you over the retardedly loud music.
I'm muted so I can hear you.
But what?
But I said, so what's your thoughts?
This could have all been done in one stream, and then we could have been playing Into the Light 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. But yeah, it's good. It's good to see Whisper come back and Outbreak to come back. That's craftables now. Imagine we could have crafted the 1,000 voices. Something like that. That'd be funny. But yep, y'all will be seeing us be playing that once it comes out.
Yep.
And hopefully here later on we will be hopping on to some Payday 2.
3 sucks.
Yeah, because 3 sucks. 2 is fun. And we'll play that for a little while, but like I said, hopefully we'll be able to. Hopefully this storm doesn't power us off or whatever. But yeah, we'll see y'all later. Bye everybody.